Hello and welcome to Two Hopes Garage. My name's Jace. Thank you very much for joining us. 91 Camaro today, one of the final jobs before it goes out for spring, and that is fitting the new rear speakers. Finally got them. Couldn't get the original GMs, ended up getting some kicker 5 1/4. Now, the speakers that were in it were 6-inch speakers. Most of the speakers around just now seem to be 6.5 or 6 3/4. I had a look at a few options, and most of them for that size seem to involve cutting or altering the rear panel, which I'm not about at all. It's galling me just to fit non-original speakers, let alone start modifying panels. So at the expense possibly of slightly weedier sound, I've gone to the 5 1/4 inch option, which means I can fit it with the use of brackets and a bit of patch wiring, and without needing to do any other alterations on the vehicle. So whatever they sound like, they'll be better than the ones that were in it, because they didn't work at all. What I might do as a wee project at some point is refoam the original ones. I'll keep them anyway, and if I can get them refoamed, I might pop them in. But for the moment, for the summer, we'll just pop these in. And yeah, so let's crack on and let's get those rear speakers fitted. Magic. So before we fit this into the car, we'll have a wee overview of what I ended up buying to get these fitted. So we've got some Scosche Ac 656 adapter brackets. Now these just let you pick up the holes on the speaker and also the holes on the vehicle, and obviously allows for a fair variety of combinations. Also got a set of, where are we, Metra 72 4500 GM speaker harness. Basically it's the plug that fits the vehicle wiring onto a couple of connectors which let you just hook it up to the speaker and patch straight into the wiring without having to do any modification to the wiring. So that's all quite handy. Now with the speakers on the brackets, now not having fitted these things before, I'm sure there's possibly little nuts and bolts out there that you can get. What I ended up doing, it's not an elegant engineering solution, but I think it will work. I'll turn it over. What I did is I just used some of these, let's focus, little super duo, almost like self-tapping screws. Fitted them through the speaker and screwed into the plastic of the bracket. What I did do though, I got a wee bit of moulding tape just to try and stop, attenuate any buzzing between the metal and the plastic. Also on the other side, I'll peel one off if I can. Let's not. These wee screws protruded by around about a thread or so. So once I'd seen how much they protrude by, basically I just filed the screws down by, it's probably about 2 or 3 mil, so they didn't protrude. I then put a wee bit of moulding tape with the backing still on it, just to stop anything rubbing against the interior panel. And that's it. So we've got I'll flip it back over. I've got the holes I'm going to be using. They are picked out in yellow so I can see what I'm doing. And yeah, that is going to fit to the interior panel of the car. Yeah, we'll see it on the car. We're going to use the original screws and speed clips that retain the original speakers. So yeah, off to the car we go. So there we have the new speaker in position. I've got the speed nuts on it already, but I thought I'd try and show you how these work, if you don't know how they work. So I get a screwdriver on the other side of the panel. Basically, just hold that in place. Try and show you, prevent it from rotating. Tighten up your screw. And it just acts as a clamp. So yeah, do that times 4 and you're there. What I will show you is the other side. So there's looking at it from the other side. You can see that the hole in the panel isn't quite a regular shape. That's to accommodate the armrest. That shows you the location of the screw holes for the speaker, and also that 5 1/4 is just a wee bit petite for that hole. However, it will sound better than the old one. What I haven't done is fit the patch wiring, so let's do that. I'll show you this fitted on the bench. You've obviously got 2 different size connectors there, and on the patch wiring you have 2 different size connectors there. So marry your connectors up, and then that leaves you with the plug to fit to the GM plug on the car. These simply push on into position. So positive location on that one, and likewise with that. And there we have the wires on. Now, one of the things with the new speakers as opposed to the old, on the old speaker terminals you had an A and a B marking. When you put the patch wiring in, it doesn't say, and it fits either way. However, this slot here, as opposed to on the other side, which is a much bigger slot, fits. There's a small tang on the back of the connector on the car that fits exactly into that. I've connected both of them up. They sound to be working as if they're in phase, so I'm going to say that locating it on there is the correct way. I'll try and show an image of the tang on the back of the on-car receptor. There we are. There's the receptacle on the car, and there's the little catch or tang that I'm talking about. That slides directly into that small slot on the patch wiring harness. So I've went with them. I have tried both on there, and that's what seems to work. So there we go. Once we've got our speaker screwed in, we can put our armrest on again. The armrest does cover those 2 speaker screws at the bottom there, so make sure that they are in place before you put this on. The armrest has a couple of studs coming through it here. These will just poke through the holes in the trim panel, like so. And on the other side that we have a couple of, hopefully you can get them there, 11mm self-washered nuts. So just put the hand in behind there and get them on. Try and get you a wee shot under that armrest. There we are. You can just see the stud. There we go. Next up, once that armrest is in, is our speaker grille panel. On the opposite side of this, we have 4 studs with shake-proof washers and 9mm nuts. So we'll pop them through and get them tightened up. Obviously, prior to putting this through, make sure your nuts are off the panel or off the studs. Try and align these holes with the studs as best we can. Right, I'll try this again. I ran into a wee unexpected issue there. The 3 studs here, here and here were going through okay. This bottom corner one, bottom rear one, was not. What it actually was the bracket on the back was obstructing the stud from going through. Now I could have probably have taken it off and reoriented it a couple of times to see what way would let that stud go through. However, that's an M4 stud. I took a 4mm drill through the hole that was already there, so we're not drilling anything new, and just ran it through the bracket on the back of the panel here that let us fit that speaker. So with a bit of luck, this stud will go through now. But as with everything else in life, there's no guarantees. There we are. Speaker grill panel fitted. Well, in place. Speaker grill panel in place. It will be fitted once we get some nuts on. So I'll just pop our little nuts with the shake-proof washers attached onto the back of these studs and then get them tightened up. I should actually have been expecting problems with that one. That one there, when I took the original speaker off, was the only one I couldn't do with a socket as the speaker body was so close it was preventing me getting a socket on, so I had to use an open-ended instead. So yeah, beware that one, it may cause issues. So there we have the back of the panel. Once we've got our studs here, let's see if we can get them on the other side. It might be a wee bit out of shot. One up here, one down towards the bottom, and we've got our speed nuts as well. You can see where the bracket is actually quite close on. Oops. See where the bracket's quite close on this side here to the stud, and on the other side it does actually hit it. However, you might be able to rotate the bracket round. I decided just to drill straight through it and save time. And the hole was there in the panel anyway, so there was not making any new holes other than in the bracket. So yeah, we'll get our trim panel into place now. So I'll try popping a scribe through it. That's perfect. And we just position that so it kind of keeps it in place, and hopefully with a bit of luck, that's better. There we are. Oh, feels better. Yep, that's in place. Pop our scribe out. There we are. Sorry, probably not letting you see much there. Should just go right in. Beautiful. There we go. Again, don't torque them up too much. That's just plastic. You don't want to damage stuff. There's a wee one got to go down here somewhere. There we are. Let's check that that's good. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we're good. So that's those ones on. Let's see what's next. So we'll get our cort welt fitted now. I'm just going to slacken this off a touch, just to give me a little bit of play on here. I'll feed this one in gently. Make sure to get that wire tucked in there. There we are. It's going in. Marvellous. There we go. And got one fastener up here. pop a wee bit of pressure on there just to make sure it's properly located. There we go. And snug that on down. Not too tight because we don't want to crack the plastic. So this one down here on the carpet retainer, this is the longest of the screws. I struggled with the angle on this one a wee bit. What I ended up doing was I popped a scribe in there just to pick up the hole and get the angle of it, and then yeah, it was all peachy after that. So tighten that one down again, not too crazy, just in case you split this plastic. I already had a little split along here, and I think it's from people getting in and out over the years. Possibly someone stood on it at some point. I've popped a little bit of super glue in there and just glued it back together. It's not, aesthetically it's not perfect, but it is better than it being split. There's a wee screw here on the other side on the honeycomb part of the sill plate, so I loosened that one off a little bit just to get some just to get a little bit of movement in this to get a cort welt in. So just tightening this one down a wee bit. Again, not too crazy because we don't want to split the plastic. So that's our cort welt in. Next up is the quarter panel upper trim cap, I believe it's called. Next up we've got the quarter panel upper trim cap. So I'll just open the door, pop the seat belt in through the slot, like so, and then start reinstalling the fasteners. Yep, one in here. We'll leave them a little bit loose initially, just so we've got a bit of play to manoeuvre everything round. One on the inside up here. Oh. Obviously taking great care not to drop anything, especially down there, because you ain't seen that for some time. Not the best angle on this one. A wee stubby screwdriver, if you've got one, that's probably a good thing here. Again, not tightening it fully, just so we've got a little bit of play. One in here that also goes through the rubber seal, just make sure it re-engages that, and keep that tightened under the seal there. There. Another one just in here. Once it's all positioned, you can tighten down these screws. Once again, not going too crazy on them, because we don't want to crack any plastic. In 1980s, 1990s, GM plastic has possibly not been renowned. It's possibly not renowned for being the most durable of stuff out there. Forgive me if I'm wrong. One's on there. And finally, that one there. Grand. Finally, let's get a rear seat squab fitted. Get seat belts out the way. pop it on in, and there's the 13mm bolt to go back in down the bottom. Once the squab's in place, pop the 13mm bolt through the wire loop, tighten that up, and that's what secures the seat squab in place. There we are. Marvellous. All done. So that's the rear speakers in the Camaro. Once again, we've got quadraphonic Jim coming out of all four corners of the car. So we're good for cruising in the nice days again. It's actually been out a couple of times, and yeah, it's been grand. Now that's the better weather, and it's got an MOT coming up on 4 or 5 days from filming this, and that's always a wee bit of apprehension, but this should be grand. It's in cracking nick. What I was thinking when I was out driving it was, I'm not digging this quite as much as I did, and I think its days might be numbered. It's probably going to see another summer with me, but I think C4 is the next thing calling me, and I can't have too many cars, so this one's probably going to go maybe next year. But that's a long way away. However, a C4's calling. What's coming up next in the garage? This is going out the door tomorrow, and the Volvo XC60's coming in for a set of front discs and pads. So that'll be along in a few days. The F-150 is still due a set of front shock absorbers. I'll be doing that soon. And then once those two things are done, we're back across the way, and we're in about the W126 Mercedes, and we're going to get a decent start in that. With a false start a few weeks ago, we're going to get back into it properly. I might even ask for suggestions as to what you want to see first on the list, but we'll stick that up in the community page perhaps. So aye, thank you very much for joining us. If you've enjoyed this at all, feel free to press the like, and if you press subscribe if you haven't already, what a happy man I'd be. Still a tiny channel, possibly the world's least watched automotive channel. So aye, press that subscribe button. There's good stuff coming. And yeah, thanks again for joining us. Hope to see you again. Take care. Goodbye. Cheers.